Hello, welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today we're going to take a quick look at PLUTUS DAO. Now, I'm not going to cover this all in depth. I'm not going to go through all of these little blocks and stuff like that, but I'm going to give you a basic idea of what's going on here and what is the use case of this. Now, I've been looking a lot more at options these days, especially with the market going sideways so much and actually going down. I believe, in my opinion, it's kind of a good time to supply liquidity to options traders. So it's pretty much always a good time, but the chances of losing like some of your underlying tokens now is a lot less than it is when the bulls are running and the market the tokens are going parabolic and stuff like that. So if you don't know how options trading works, you can do a little more research on that, or you can watch some of my videos where I cover different options trading platforms. Now, the idea of PLUTUS DAO is to aggregate the governance power of DOPEX here and Jones DAO. Now, I've done videos on both DOPEX and Jones DAO. Now, when I first did them, they weren't quite live completely, they weren't fully functional, and now they are. So I'm going to talk a little bit about these two things and kind of give you an idea what these are, and then I'll move back to PLUTUS DAO, okay? So DOPEX is a place where you can basically trade, call, or put options. So basically, the idea here is that people can come here and they can provide liquidity to options traders, and option traders can come here to purchase options, right? Now, in the past, when I first made my video, the only thing that was live was, I think, these two vaults here, where you're supplying liquidity to ETH call options, and these are 1 month call options, so they expire in a month. But they've also added the ETH weekly, and they've also put it puts, so you can use two pool tokens. So this is like Curve, DAI, and USDC, I believe, on Arbitrum, right? This is on Arbitrum. So you can use these Curve tokens, these Curve liquidity pool tokens to supply liquidity to put options as well. So these are now live here on DOPEX. Now, the thing that makes DOPEX a little bit hard is if I go in here and I wanted to buy an option, I could easily buy options, right? But the thing that makes it difficult is, like, this is a monthly option. It's going to expire in a month. I have to decide the strike value on my own. So I have to choose a strike price that I think is good, and this could be a difficulty or this could be a benefit. It depends on who you are, but a lot of people, they don't want to manage this all the time. They don't want to come and check this, and then they'll also have to come every month and reset their ETH call options, right? So they have to come every month and make new ones, right? And they'll have to decide, they always have to decide this, right? So this is one of the shortcomings, I guess you can call it. It's not really a shortcoming, but a lot of people don't want to do this, right? So out of this need grew the Jones DAO. Now, I did do a video on Jones DAO, and you can watch that. Nothing's really changed too much on here, but they are live now. As you can see, they are functioning and so forth. And what you can do here is you can put your ETH here, and they will use their expertise on DOPEX to decide which strike prices are less likely to get hit and therefore lost. However, the higher you set the strike price, the less likely it's going to get premiums. It's going to get purchased. So they're going to manage this with some sort of their own system of ideals and their own strategies and so forth. And then Jones DAO will also purchase some of these options as well in the case that it does go parabolic and so forth. And that goes okay also for all of these other tokens as well. So we have, just to reiterate, so we have DOPEX, which allows you to provide liquidity to people who want to buy options, and you can also come here to buy options. And then we have Jones DAO, which manages these different perimeters for you on DOPEX. Now, they both do have these governance tokens. So DOPEX has the DPX governance token, and you can stake it here. And Dow Jones has the Jones token, which you can stake here as well. And this is where PLUTUS DAO comes in. Now, PLUTUS DAO is preparing for the launch of the VE governance tokens for both DOPEX and Jones DAO. So currently they are collecting these tokens, and they're not leaving them just sitting idle, but they are collecting them here. And the idea here is like what you have at Convex or these type of ideas where you would stake your token here. So if you would bring your DPX tokens here and you would stake them here, and then you would never get your DPX tokens back. It's a one-way track. It's like the VE model or the CBX model and then they would provide liquidity to these pools, and then you could go back through trading your PLUTUS DAO DPX tokens for DPX tokens. And then the same with the Jones. Now the Jones, they're asking for Jones ETH LP tokens instead of just Jones. And currently what they're doing with these is they are just taking them over here and they're staking them in these various places where they can stake them to gain these APYs. And then they're just compounding them and so forth and giving them to the stakers of the PLUTUS DAO tokens. So we have Convert. So this is where you would take your rewards from DOPEX, or if you're using Jones, you would take your Jones rewards and you would bring them here and you would stake them for these PLUTUS DAO VE locked tokens. Now, like I said, VE is not live yet, but they're preparing for it, right? They know it's going to happen eventually. They're just waiting for it to launch, and then these guys are going to basically lock all of those tokens in and have that voting power. Okay. Now, the next thing, after you stake your tokens here, you will have PLS Jones tokens, and you can bring them over here and stake them to farm this new PLUTUS DAO token, the PLS token. And then even if you want, you can supply PLS to ETH tokens here and stake them here. And as you can see, currently, if you were to stake your tokens here, you're going to gain all of these rewards from the use case of their tokens. So what does that mean is you're giving them DPX, right? And if you are somebody who doesn't really want to manage this, you don't really want to see what is the best option all the time, you can just give it to these guys. These guys will be monitoring DOPEX and monitoring Jones for the best use cases, and they will put the tokens into these best use cases and be able to farm these different rewards for you. And you can come and basically claim these rewards here if you've staked your PLS tokens inside the staker here. So you'll be able to get these rewards. Now there is some very interesting things that I want to show you on the PLUTUS docs. And that is here. There's this one concept here. Basically, when they start to build up these VE Jones voting power, then you'll be able to take your Volt tokens. Let's say you supplied ETH here, and instead of staking your ETH into something that would be here, your Jones ETH, right? Your Jones ETH LPs here, or I believe there will probably be a single staking one, but instead of staking here, you can stake it into the PLUTUS DAO, right? And if you stake it into the PLUTUS DAO, then you will get their boost, because they will have the boost. And it's just like Convex. Why do people put their Curve LPs in Convex? Because Convex has so much boosting power now that they can get you better rewards than if you were to try to do it yourself, right? And then you don't need to lock up your tokens for for your own long-term locking and so forth, okay? So this thing is very interesting to me, okay? They're planning to open these dollar maxi vaults, which are quite interesting to me. So let me go through this and kind of explain to you what's going on here, because this is clever stuff for me. So it says user deposits ETH into the vault. So you would come to PLUTUS DAO with your ETH, right? And then you would stake you would put it into the ETH maxi vault, and then they would take this ETH and they would divide it up accordingly. So they would put maybe 40 into the main strategy vault. So they would just, mint you these VETH tokens, right? JETH, which is basically the same thing as putting your ETH in here, right? So they would put the ETH in here, 40% in here for you. And then they will take the other 40% of the ETH and they would pair it and make the LP token. And then they would put that LP token for you inside here and gain this APY. Now remember, when VE Boost comes in, these will probably be boostable and they will get a better APY than if you were to do this yourself, right? And then the next thing they have is they're going to take some ETH and they're going to zap it for DPX. And then they're going to pair that DPX with ETH and farm that on DOPEX as well. So come over here to the farms and they will farm this basically token and get these more DPX tokens for you. So this is kind of an idea of one of the strategies that they're going to build and try to run for you. So this is kind of showing you how that, like, the PLUTUS DAO is going to be an expert on DOPEX and Jones so that you don't really need to be. Now, of course, there are going to be fees, right? Everything has fees, right? And the fees will come basically, for lack of a better word, I don't want to go through every single fee, but basically the fees will come out of these different, these different opportunities, right? The Share Jones and the Dollar Maxi and any other ones that come in the future. They will take these fees and they will give them to the stakers of these, probably they will give them to whoever stakes or locks the PLUTUS DAO token, or maybe even just share it with this vault for the time being and so forth. So now this thing's not built completely. It's not ready. It's basically, I'm talking about this today not to explain you exactly what this does, more for you to keep your eyes on this if this is something you're interested in. Like I said before, I think during these times when, the bull isn't running and your ETH is not going skyrocket every day, again and again and again all-time highs, then it's a good time to consider some of your ETH for selling options, because the opportunity of the APYs of putting ETH to sell options is pretty good. Like I'm not currently using this, but like you can't really see here, but like if you look at the Jones DAO vault here, you can see it's 8% on ETH, which is pretty good. And they're going to try their best not to get any losses. But again, when they farm and the premium, as long as the farming rewards and the premium rewards outweigh the amount of ETH you lose by filling, by exercise options getting exercised, then it's all good, right? Then you're in the profit, right? So this is, again, not financial advice. Of course, you do what you got to do and you do some more research and you read more about these different protocols. But I'm keeping my eye on this PLUTUS DAO, and I'm also going to keep my eye on these Jones and DOPEX, because I am participating in various different options trading platforms at this time. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been useful, and goodbye.